Welcome to Gate City Chronicle. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and we're sitting at a little different setting here today. We're not sitting at the table, but I'm pleased to introduce my guest, Mr. Deane. Correct?
Correct.
And today you're wearing the hat of the president of the
Nashua North Cal Ripken. Yep, it's a program that's one of the oldest programs in the city, and it's located up. Our main field is located up in front of Holman Stadium. And we have lower fields down below on Artillery Lane into the right field section of Holman Stadium in the back.
Right. Now, do you also play at Lincoln Park too? There's some of your games down there?
Or? This year we played a little interleague baseball with Nashua South Cal Ripken, they're hosting the 11-year-old regional tournament, which is the state champions will all be reporting to their field on August 4th. And we played interleague with them. And there's another program in the city, which is Nashua Central, which is a combination of the former Nashua Northwest and Nashua West, which is housed out of Ledge Street Memorial Field. It's now Fred LaJoy Field. It's
right.
Memorial Park, and they play there as well as Lincoln Park up off of Broad Street in the back.
Well, I remember when the season started off, I don't know if it was a jamboree or whatever, but it was by the Boys and Girls Club. That's the Ledge Street.
Yes, that's Nashua Central.
Nashua Central. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there was a type of merging going on. It was a celebration of all these teams coming together.
Yeah, they took the problems that we're seeing is we have a reduction in numbers. When I became the president in 2006, we had about 260 players. 6 years later, we have 148. And we had discussions about merging, and unfortunately, things didn't work out the way we thought they were gonna. And the West and Northwest decided to merge and form a league called Central. And I believe their numbers were at about 500 players between the two leagues that are now one.
Right. And I think the mayor was there at that ceremony, starting the whole
Yep, she was there, and yeah, it was nice. I was president of that league when it was Nashua West. Back in about 10 years, I was there. I built a ball field. Our numbers were so strong back then. I built a ball field down behind the boys' club.
Right. Yeah.
In conjunction with, I got some money, some CDBG money back then from the Board of Aldermen. I was serving on the Board of Public Works, and I got a lot of donated. Most everything was donated. I got $10,000, and that paid for the fencing around the field itself.
Right.
And a friend of mine put all the irrigation in, and I brought the water line down. A gentleman I was working for lent me his backhoe, and Massey Plumbing and Heating gave me all the water line, and then my buddy came down and put up the electrical service. Another friend of mine who worked at Concrete Systems brought over a manhole to set over the backflow preventer, and then another friend of mine came down and ran all the pipe and donated all the irrigation equipment.
So if you need something done, I guess you're the guy to get it done, right?
And then another buddy of mine came down and hydro-seeded the whole place. So, I mean,
now,
we had...
Is it the field that is right behind the Boys Club?
Yes.
Or the one where that you go through the, I guess there's the paths where people go in a...
No, this is when you head into the Boys Club parking lot, into the
where
overlay,
everybody
you'd bear right and head towards the back of the club, which is another... That's another wonderful facility that the city has, Boys Club. I mean, Boys and Girls Club.
I remember in the 70s, I was on the wrestling team there. A friend of mine, Norman Briere, and myself, we were on the wrestling, and his brother Mark. They just moved, I guess, from Main Street to that facility, the Boys and Girls Club. And they had the swimming pools, we had the table tennis, the pools. We'd go there after school, and that was just a great place to hang out. And
yeah,
we actually did pretty well learning about wrestling, and
it's a wonderful facility. And PAL is another wonderful program for kids in the community. I mean, when I was at Nashua West, I had a lot of vandalism problems, and finally one day I went over to the club, and I went in and I started talking to the kids, and they, this is your neighborhood.
Yep.
We're here trying to, fix things, working in conjunction with the park department. They give us paint and material for the field and things, and we could, spruce the place up and do some work. And we used to have a spring cleanup every spring prior to the season. We get a couple of dumpsters that the city would bring down, and we clean the place up. But I went over and talked to the kids, and asked them to find out who was doing all of this, and just asked them to stop. And then I talked to a lot of the kids, and I asked them why they weren't playing, and they didn't have any money. And So, you know, we had, and they had it prior to my arrival, but I told them we had a scholarship program, and, you know, we could, you know, take care of kids that were financially unable to pay any registration fee. So we brought all these, you know, we brought these kids in, and then they started playing in the program, and it gave them a little ownership with what was going on. And when they came in and played with us,
it's their club.
Yeah, you know? it ended.
Right.
The problems that we had at that time ended, and that was in 1990, 91. And a lot of those kids today, you know, they're still around. The union leader just did an article on one of them who's a mentor for, I mean, he was born, you know, with only one hand, and he played baseball for us. He played fall baseball for me. He was a great kid, but he's mentoring younger kids now, and another fella owns a barber shop over on West Hollis Street. I mean, you see these guys. I mean, they're all, you know, they're my son's age. Now. They're in their 30s, you know, 30, 31 years old, and they're married, and some of them have kids, and, you know, so it's good to see that they've, you know, what they've done with their lives. And
I know as a kid, that was one of the facilities that the Boys and Girls Club really was a place to get us off the streets, because we had, you know, we had one parent, and we had a lot of time on our hands.
Yeah.
And being engaged with the swimming team, with the wrestling team, the basketball team, they had their weights. It really gave you a place to go and hang out in a safe environment. And now they have after-school programs where they actually go and pick you up for after school.
Yeah.
I happened to see the bus down at the country club, the Nashua Country Club. I guess they're teaching kids how to play golf.
Yeah, the Nashua Country Club is involved with the First Tee program, which it's really unique. I've helped move some of the material. I'm not actively involved with it, but I've helped Lori Ethier's involved with it, and a number of other members down there. And we asked members for clubs to set bags up for clubs. We're inundated with golf clubs.
Nice, yeah.
And now the kids, they bring the kids down on a Monday. They sign up, and the club brings them down, and they're teaching them the game. And you know, the kids they're into it, and it gives them an opportunity. I saw a golf tournament. It was probably a month, excuse me, a month or so ago, where the fellow that won it also won another $100,000, and he donated $50,000 to the First Tee program, because it's all over the country.
That's
and
nice.
yeah,
that's a
it
nice
is.
Club. That's a nice course. I've yet to play that. I have not played there yet. But
I work there, and I haven't played in 2 years myself. So I mean, it is golf's a great game. I swing a golf club like a baseball bat. If the ball goes in the woods, I don't get upset about it. I just get another one and put it on the ground and keep on playing. But it's a fun game.
Yeah, I never get upset, because usually when I go in there to find my ball, I find 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, there you go. So you made, you know, some of those balls are $5 a piece. So
So you were saying that Kelly Ayott's children are in the league as well.
Yeah, the Senator Ayott's children are playing at North Cal Ripken, and she's participated with some of our ceremonies. She's been very generous with that. She's funny. She came to our. I have a year-end rookie T-ball barbecue where we set up a big 20 by 30 tent, and we have a big barbecue for all the kids, and we give out the awards. And she came to that. It's just we got bounce houses for the kids, and you know, the program is there's a lot of life lessons being taught. It's not all about baseball. Baseball's a reason to get them there, but you know, it's unlike politics. It requires you know, the kids. We have children from some of the richest part of the city, and children from some of the poorest part of the city. So it's good, and the kids mesh together. It teaches teamwork, you know, fair play. They look at, you know, they get to see the socioeconomic backgrounds of different children that they're playing ball with, and they go to appreciate what they have. And
on both ends,
yeah. And I have wonderful coaches who have been there, some of them for long periods of time. Their children have come and gone. Daryl Barlow, Dave Cataract, to name a couple. Daryl's the coach of our 11-year-old team, who had some real good success. They won their area tournament up in Merrimack, and now they're in the state tournament, and they've won their first 2 games there, and they play Exeter tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I was just, we were just talking off camera that the All-Stars are still going at this point.
Yeah.
This is a good long season for the All-Stars.
Yeah, the kids, the team is, my 9s, the 9s went out to Keene, and the 12s, we hosted a 12-year-old tournament at North, and I've put in for that next year when these 11s become 12s. And it's, we have a city tournament. The problem is the season is so condensed because of the winter. And then we're condensed by tournament play. We have to, kids down south start school earlier than they do up here.
Yeah.
So we got to go by their worst case scenario, although we're still shoveling snow and they're playing their 15th game. And,
I know that we were playing baseball indoors, Coach Dave. We had, they do the paintball by the Hudson River.
Yeah.
I believe it's by the Hudson.
Over in Hudson or in the Merrimack River?
Yeah, right off the Merrimack River, just on this side of it. There's
Yeah.
that paintball place there where you can have little paintball.
Yeah, and they had batting cages and
Yeah.
they had nets hanging in the air. I brought my son over there. That's
Kevin started earlier this year with Coach Dave. Dave's last name's escaping me for some reason.
Drescher? Where does he play?
At Ledge Street.
Oh, at Ledge?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many guys over there now.
And Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
But they started earlier, and it was still kind of cool in there,
Yeah.
But you got to get warmed up and get ready for the season. And I guess he does it all winter long, though. I didn't know that, but it's got to be cold in there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. My son went over there for some. They had some drills, practices, and things, and he went over there. But when you look at these kids. I look at the North High School, whereas, the last 3 seasons, most of those kids came out of North Cal Ripken.
Right.
And a handful, some of them came out of Nashua Northwest at the time, and they did some phenomenal teams.
Yeah.
And they were state champions. And
So talk about a little bit about the funding. I mean, is it all city funding or private donations, or is there a mix of that and people purchasing the uniforms, or how does that work?
The city supplies us with the facility, and they pay our water and our light bill, which is in the Park and Recreation operational budget. And in my case, I maintain our major league field. Our lower fields are cut and maintained by the city. I mean, I can go down and, I can go down and take care of the clay, but the union doesn't want me getting involved in anything more than that. But we had a little incident a few years ago, but things have kind of been straightened out. But, when I was involved, the deal with the city was, when the city, June Karen worked at the park department at the time, and she would know better than I the total history of it. But when the city ran these youth programs and turned them over to the private organizations that formed the leagues, back then it was Bambino, which is 12 and under for Babe Ruth, and then Cal Ripken bought into it with his name and a significant donation to Babe Ruth, I guess. I don't know the details on that, but
Yeah.
the deal with the city was that we could maintain our major league fields, and the city would supply us with electricity and water. And there was concession stands that were built.
Right.
Some of them were built by different groups. Some of them were built by the leagues.
Ledge Street has a nice little concession stand.
Yeah, I remodeled that whole inside when I was there. It was I was finding Christmas tree cords inside the walls.
Oh dear.
So we went
Wiring.
one fall and we tore everything out. But I had my friend was a plumber, licensed plumber. Another guy that coached in the league was a licensed electrician. We did a service change. I did all the framing. I put the whole kitchen in. I got all the redwood for inside. I tiled the floor. But it was a joint effort, amongst everybody.
It's
to
a nice
help out.
distraction, for some of the people there.
And
Lincoln Park could definitely use one, that's for sure.
the problem with Lincoln Park is it's built on top of a landfill.
Right.
It's capped, and the ground can't be penetrated.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can't. I mean, the penetrations that were made for the fencing and for the light poles are one thing.
Can't
but
put a slab on top
no.
of it?
When they originally went out there used to be a building up, a flood shack up in the corner, and there was 2 bathrooms there. And I put some irrigation in over there for Mr. Zapanis at the time, Brad Zapanis' dad, who was over there tirelessly running that program. And when they finally went over there to check things, they brought a meter into the building, and the methane was so high in that building that if you didn't have to open a door to turn on the light, there probably would have been a problem. So
They don't have exhausts coming out of the ground or anything like that, do they?
no.
Yeah, like a regular?
They have wells that they monitor over there.
Yeah.
But
So-
a lot of that was construction demolition debris.
What about a trailer, I wonder?
The city has offered to pour a slab and fence the slab in, and then they could set a trailer on it. And then the health department, who requires us all to have permits, and we have to meet the same criteria that any other food establishment in the city does. You know, we're not allowed, we can deal with prepackaged or pre-cooked hot dogs and stuff like that, but when it comes to anything else, I mean, I have, in our concession, I have all NSF-approved equipment in there that is what is used in commercial kitchens, so I don't have to worry about that. But the city, you know, and for good reason, I mean,
Yeah.
other than the $75 they charge us because, you know, we're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Right.
And,
Isn't it amazing that all these landfills end up right next to a river?
well, it's like when you go to Boston, you know, when you look at the monument, you look down at the college right off before you get into the tunnel. That was a dump.
Yeah.
You go on the other side, it's all athletic fields. Now you go on the other side when you went through the Callahan Tunnel at the time and went into South Boston on the other side where the gas tanks are. That's where the teepees were back in the 60s and 70s, and they used to bulldoze all the trash into the teepees and burn it. You know, but the athletic fields, you know, they found a niche for it. I mean, yeah, they have some settling, and they do have some drainage issues over there that are bad at times. I mean, the city has done some corrective work, but there is some settling going, massive settling going on.
I know some of the
now.
lower fields. I've actually raked that lower field I was
It's
sweating.
brutal.
Oh my gosh, it turned like, that was hard to rake.
Yeah.
I've actually broken a couple of rakes on the stuff, but there was some settling. You could, like you said, and they were puddling. you
Yeah.
know, after a good rain.
Yeah, they tried to divert the water around that by putting some asphalt in behind the backstop, but
Yeah.
you know, when you get an impervious area, which is that roadway that goes down there, and you get a massive downpour, and the water's going to travel, seek its point of least resistance, which is down that hill.
Right.
That little 3-inch curb at the bottom doesn't stand a chance. The water just runs right over it, you know.
So what are your goals? What's new? What's going to be coming up in the next few years as far as how are
Well-
we going to get the kids more involved, or
We're
should
you
we
know,
outlaw Xbox, or?
Yeah, I'd love to get rid of that stuff. We're you know, I know some kids are playing lacrosse, which is fine. I mean, I'm not anti any athletic activity that a child partakes in. But you know, this year we were aggressive with putting signs out, with going to schools, with you know, we got out of the gate early. The lady that Kerry Fleming, that's our league vice president, you know, we got everything going, and she was spearheaded all of that, and the numbers just, you know, continue to dwindle, and it's rather alarming. And I contacted the high schools and let the high schools know, because we're the, you know, whether they want to realize it or not, you know, our T-ball program is the feeder system for their high
Right.
school programs, and if our numbers are that depleted, eventually it's going to work its way to the top.
Now, is Babe Ruth? Babe Ruth is still around. I would
Yeah,
assume.
we have, you know, they dropped a Babe Ruth team this year. They have 9. They had 3 very open teams, which is like a minor league Babe Ruth for the 13-year-olds, basically, that don't make Babe Ruth. I coached a team in Ray Oban for 3 years, and back then we had 10 teams. 8 to 10 teams all the time. And Babe Ruth had 10 solid teams all the time. Now it's, their numbers are dropping. And I talked to a fellow in Hollis. Their numbers are dropping.
Is the population decreasing?
It's like this across the country.
It's crazy.
The Wall Street Journal had an article on baseball and how it's, you know, it's starting to, you know, the interest isn't there. You know, when people say, well, if the Red Sox do good, what does that do for you? Well, we might get a little boost out of that.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know. It's concerning. I mean, we're down there. I mean, and the interesting thing is when you look at like my 11-year-old team, the kids are little. And the other night when we went to play Dover, it looked like, you know, that most of the kids were as big as the coaches. And these kids from Dover are looking at us like, got to be kidding me.
Right.
You know? So we won the toss. We got home team. We went in our dugout. Coach Barlow sends the kids out. Get three quick outs. We get up to bat. We put 9 runs on the board in the bottom of the first inning. And these kids from Dover were absolutely just deflated, the whole team. They didn't know what to do. Like, what are these little kids doing? They were bunting, they were stealing, they were, you know, hitting doubles. They were, you know, it's a very sound, fundamental team. And they work, you know, it's a good team. They're good kids. They play well together. The coach gets them all in the game some way, somehow. Tournament play, you're not required to get them all in, but
I bet you the kids were psyched.
yeah, the kids that, you know, as long as they're being a part, if they're out pinch running away, as long as they're in the game, you know, it's the kids have, you know, they won their area tournament and they're undefeated. Now they've won their first 2 games in the States, and they, like I said earlier, they play tonight at 8, and I plan on taking a spin up there and watching them play. It's been a fun summer for them.
So I wonder what we can do, or what you know, how we can. It's not just a matter of messaging. There's a cultural thing going on here as far as getting the kids back interested in baseball. Right? I mean, the funding's there, the fields are there, the volunteers are there.
You know, the city has spent a tremendous amount of money on, in my view anyways, on athletic fields. And when you look at, you know, when you look at the expansion that we had a number of years ago on our diamonds, I mean, we went from a 60-foot diamond and we expanded to 70 feet. Although our fences are still 200, but we've put nets up, you know, to compensate for the quality of the balls and these $400 bats. And kids have hit the ball a lot harder and a lot further. But the city, you know, when they did Memorial Park over at Ledge Street, I mean, they spun that all around. I mean, there was a Babe Ruth field there when I was there. It was...
There's 3 fields there.
Yeah. There's 4. There's Rabusic in the back. There's 3. There's a Babe Ruth. There's that smaller one out front by the basketball, by Al Savage's basketball courts. And then there's the 70-foot, and then there's the other field that's down below that they use.
Isn't there another field, though, on the trails?
There's one behind Ledge Street Elementary School.
Right.
Years ago, before they put the addition on, our minor league field was in the front. It was a beautiful field.
I used to play softball out there. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it was, and when they went to put the addition on, it was kind of strange. They bulldozed the fields up, and then it sat like that all summer. And it's like that I can remember. It just seemed like, why couldn't they wait until we were done? You know, I mean, but
seems like you've got a lot of history here, doing a lot of this.
Well, one of the people that I really met and admired was Fred LaJoy, who just retired as our state commissioner. Who, you know, he pulled a lot of rabbits out of his hat with, you know, he got the lights put up at our field at North. Well, now they're antiquated. I mean, everybody has Musco, and we still have these wood poles, and every once in a while you get a kid who'll clang a ball off of one of them and spin the light around. But I mean, Fred LaJoy did a lot for youth baseball in this community. He was the one that got together with a lot of the folks in the community that funded, you know, worked with a couple of banks, and they my understanding, they got the money together to get the 1988 World Series, Bambino World Series held at Holman Stadium. The city downsized the field. They put a fence out there, and it was a great success. And there was a lot of folks within the community, within the financial part of the financial district of the community, that were involved with banks that pulled that off. And when it was done, it was successful. Everybody was repaid, and from what I was told, each league profited about $10,000. And Fred didn't hold back any punches. He had balloons coming in. I mean, Fred had, you know...
It was an event.
Yeah, it was an event. He made it an event, and there was a lot of volunteers.
So if people want to get involved now with baseball or become part of Cal Ripken or kind of restore it, do they contact you? Who do they get in touch with?
Well, if they want their children to play, they can go on the city's website, which is the Go Nashua, and go to the park department page, and it's got a listing of the leagues and the league president contacts, or a contact for each league. And what we're talking about now is moving the boundaries. And it's my understanding that they're going to be moved so that we'll pick up some more players for our program. It'll kind of balance things out a little bit. But that the new state commissioner was talking to me the other night about that. So that still hasn't been settled yet, but that's something that needs to be done. You can't load a program with 500 and then starve another one with 148.
Right.
But, you know, even as the smallest program, the teams that have come out of our program have been very successful. I mean, it's good coaching. It's, you know, it's the kids that want to play ball. It's, you know, fundamentals.
My hat's off to the coaches. They really don't.
Yeah, they put a lot of time in.
Yeah, they really do.
I get like Daryl Barlow. He's just baseball. You know, but he does a Cal Ripken team. He does a Babe Ruth team. Then he does Biddy basketball, which is another great program that the city has. It's, he does that, and a lot of these fellows that do Babe Ruth do basketball and things like that. So it's, you know, and a lot of them have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I do baseball. I don't do basketball. I had concerns when the city wasn't going to, you know, they were talking about not funding the Biddy basketball program, and it's like.
It's good. These are good programs. These are really good for the kids, no doubt. Like you said, there's life lessons. There's gets them involved with stuff. Gets them off the Xbox. It gets them involved with their community. That's the thing about this Xbox and the kids just in the computers, and they're wonderful inventions, but they don't let the kids get out there and play.
Yeah.
It's to me their social skills are diminished.
You don't see what you don't see anymore is, I mean, I had it probably back in 2006, 2007, and those kids all were part of that Nashua North State tournament team that won it all. Those kids were together, you know, because North League is a neighborhood league, basically. And those kids were together all day. That's all they did was play sandlot baseball. I mean, they just, you know, the invisible man lived, you know what I mean? They'd pair up, they'd ride their bikes up the ball field, and they'd play baseball.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. You don't see kids doing that. Everything is more organized, or, you know, and I have nothing against structuring programs. I mean, you have to structure programs for kids, but it just seems like there's other things that, you know, that I did when I was a kid that, you know, you don't see kids out.
I know. There's definitely a change. We used to play up by the 99 now. There used to be a field out there. There was a field out there. My friend Norman and I, and neighborhood kids, you know, we didn't even know the kids. They just, you know, they'd see us playing ball, and we'd make teams.
Right.
That was it, and then that was our team. And
but the city, you know, the city does, the Park and Recreation Department, in my mind anyways, does an outstanding job with the programs that they run. I mean, the summer camps that they have, our swimming pools, our playgrounds, our ball fields, and, you know, and then you have the other passive recreation, you know, the amount of property that we've purchased. I mean, Mine Falls Park is, for instance, I mean, that's passive recreation for people. They like to go out, they like to ride their bikes, they like to go out there and go fishing, they like to just walk the trails.
Nashua's like a little mini Boston, really. There's a lot to do here, and it's Park's doing a really good job.
Yeah, when you go, it's like Mine Falls. When you go out there, you forget you're in Nashua.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go out on the Spine Road, and it's just, that was some very good forethought by folks long ago when the city had the opportunity to come in and grab that.
The development I live in, at Hollis Crossing, Tamposi's built that about 20 some odd years ago, and we have a gentleman there, Mr. John Prestige there. We call him Mr. Nashua Geographic, because he documents all the wildlife around the area, and you really feel like you're removed from the city because of all the deer, the ducks, the geese, all the wildlife that is right here. And right across the river, of course, is where Mines Falls is.
Yep.
So it's, we benefit from that. But the trails, when you go up and down Mine Fall, I remember when I was a kid, that,
Yeah, and then you got, well, you get the Mine Falls Park Advisory Committee, and they have trail days.
yeah.
They're always looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
There's a
Do they contact you or again, Parks Rec?
Park and Recreation. The Telegraph will advertise their trail days.
Yeah.
That they have. They usually have like one a month. But the nice thing is a cellular tower, although it's somewhat of an eyesore, but there was a trust account set up, and that money specifically for Mine Falls Park improvements. So, you know, they've bought tools, they bought a cart, they buy material, they buy, you know, that, and there's a substantial amount of money in that account, but with the way the law reads and when the alderman set up that account, that money specifically for the maintenance purposes of Mine Falls Park.
Are there any new developments that are on the plans? Is there anything new that's coming to the city or the area? Or
well, they're talking about, there was talk about moving the skate park out of the Bridge Street area, but I haven't, you know, that Renaissance project, but that's been a number of years. I don't know where that is. They're trying to push that a little bit, but I don't know where they moved the skate park to, but I gave the mayor plans for a new skate park.
Is that the one by the Merrimack?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was, we built that, the city, I had some kids, you know, say, what can we do, you know, and I looked at that parcel, and then, you know, and then Board of Aldermen President Kathy Hirsch, and I talked to her, and Jim Hall was the superintendent of the street department, along with Frank Dorsey was a park superintendent at the time, but Jim Hall played an instrumental role along with the fellows at the street department and some of Jim's connections with Brock's and other people for materials. And I applied for a $120,000 grant through CDBG for that park, and we built that park. We brought the people in, and the street department assisted with some of it, and then they came in and poured it, and it's well used. The police police were in support of it. They said, hey, you know, you fenced it, it's lit, it's not in anybody's neighborhood, you know, per se, and you know, it's out in the open. It's
well maintained.
Yeah.
It appears.
And the kids, and there's a cell tower there where there's money. There's a substantial amount of money in that account that's used for maintenance and operations of that. So there's no drain on city taxes for that. The fees that are brought in from cell tower go into the trust account. So and any of the repairs and maintenance come out of that and are paid for out of that account. So
is that the lesson for the people? You want something done, put a
cell tower in your front yard. No, but I mean, the opportunity presented itself, and we put up the flagpole. I just wish the flag was better maintained, but that's when you look at the size of the flags they put up in the area in which it covers, and the wear and tear is pretty significant. So
if people want to get in touch with you, if they get some ideas, or they want to be a volunteer, or do they go to Park Recreation site, or do they call you direct?
They can call me direct. My home phone number is 882-9617, and there's also a link on the city's website, the Go Nashua website. Under the park department, it has all the activities there. It'll show all their summer camps and things like that Tom Duane's now charged with, now that Scott Painter is working as a foreman now and through a promotion at the stadium. So Tom is handling that, and I heard they're going to, they may have already hired somebody else to replace Scott. So, but those all the summer programs that the city runs, along with, you know, their basketball and everything else, it's all available on the city's website.
Great. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anything else that you want our viewers to see or know or talk about, or this time?
Have your kids
get into baseball.
Get into baseball, but get into something other than sitting there twiddling on.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important. It's.
Thank you for all your volunteer work that you do, and we know that you serve the city as an alderman as well. We didn't get into that discussion at all, but Gate City Chronicles about other than just politics here.
Absolutely.
And,
It's more to life than just politics, believe me. And I enjoy volunteering.
Yeah.
I enjoy working with volunteers. And I'm still of the belief that if it wasn't for volunteers, this city would be in big trouble.
This city has a lot of volunteers. Everything
Nobody
from
has-
Rotary to the things.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing. It just,
And people, I think some people realize it. I mean, I had a fella a couple years ago that was down painting all the white. His son was practicing in our lower field, and there had been some graffitiing done on all the white posts with a 2-inch green rail that runs through it. And he was down there painting all the poles while the son was at baseball practice because he was tired of looking at it. But he says, hey, I live here.
Right.
I want to do this.
Yeah, there really is a sense of
You know,
community.
so there's
in
a
Nashua.
lot of people. I mean, you look at little things like that, but little things like that go a long way. You know,
really
I mean,
do. Yeah.
it's important. But there's a lot of people that volunteer in this community, an awful lot, and I thank them all.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Well, that's it for this segment of Gate City Chronicles. Thank you, Mr. Deane, for coming in and talking about baseball. And personally, thank you for your volunteer work and for the people like yourself that help coordinate all this.
Thank you.
Until next week. And welcome back to Gate City Chronicles. I have a new guest, and his name is Frank Rabusic. Is that correct? Did
That's
I say
correct.
that right?
Yes, you did.
Not bad for a first time.
No, not bad at all.
Right. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Frank, you're a spinning instructor.
That's correct.
All right. So for our guests who don't know what spinning is, tell us a little bit about what that is.
Spinning is like riding a bicycle, but indoors, in a room, with a group of people and with music, with an instructor shouting at you to motivate you to push yourself harder, to tell you when to sit, when to stand. Otherwise, if you're outside, you quite don't know what to do.
Right. So you're basically the drill sergeant on a bike.
Pretty much, yes. But I lead by example.
Right.
People can see what it's supposed to look like. I play the music they like, and they get motivated. That's the big difference. They in air-conditioned room, they don't get sweaty, and they enjoy it.
So what's some of the music that you play?
I play all sorts. You know, I like to combine the oldies, the 50s and 60s, and then many people like Zumba music. That's very popular. So
Yeah.
I've gone to a few Zumba classes myself, and I've taken the music and I play Zumba music, and I call it Zumba spin. That's my invention. And then I also play the new pop music, what everybody likes to listen. I do tribute to different artists. I play ABBA. I do a bit of Swedish music, bit of European music, bit of US, bit of Latino.
Just to get them motivated, keep them interested in, distracted from the pain that they're suffering on the
You
bike.
are so correct. That's what you want to do. You have a goal. You set the ideas what you want to achieve. You plan the course for the day. You may do Tour de France or Tour of Spain or in Italy.
Oh, so you have some programs with names on them. Tour de France. That
That's
sounds like
correct.
a long hike.
It is. I prepare for this. I spend about 4 hours preparing for each class, but I repeat them. So I have a little booklet, and then for each terrain, I prepare terrain first, and then after I do the terrain, I apply the music to individual sections of the terrain.
Right.
It's usually, on average, about 13 songs, and the terrain varies. Sometimes
How
it can
long
be...
is that? Is 13 songs? Is that about 3 minutes a song, 4 minutes a song?
It's about 3 to 5 minutes a song. The
Yep.
class lasts 45 minutes.
Do you have a Mount Washington?
I do, but I don't tell anybody that it's a Mount Washington. I've climbed Mount Washington about 5-6 times.
Yeah.
Once I ran it up as part of a presidential range challenge, and it was rough. So if I told my students we're doing Mount Washington, some of them could leave.
Right. Now, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it for about 10 years.
Here in Nashua?
No, I've been doing it in Nashua for about a year,
Okay.
in the YMCA. And then previously I used to do it in England.
In England. Wow. So you've been doing it here for about a year at the Y by the stadium,
That's correct.
and you're a regular instructor.
I am, yes. I instruct Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and
So
Thursday.
you're part of the staff, and you've got this program. Does the program have a name, or is it just called spinning class?
They call it group cycling or spinning. It pretty much is the same, but as you don't know what spinning is, many people get confused. what is it, a spinning head or spinning waist, and therefore they call it group cycling.
Group cycling. Now, is this something that carried over from the European countries and has hit America, or is it vice versa? Or you said you've been doing this for 10 years.
You know, it's been invented in the U.S.
Okay.
by a South African. And then it just grew throughout the world. The main idea was to get a peace of mind, relax, and while you're doing that, be connected with the bike and lose some weight, get into shape, and be in a group environment.
Let's talk about calories.
Yes, sir.
Is there a certain amount of calories that a person can expect to lose if, depending upon the program that you choose?
I personally do advanced spinning. In the local Y, we have several levels of spinning. We have spinning for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. I do the advanced, and in those 45 minutes, we burn about 600 calories.
Wow, that's a lot.
In a less challenging program, you still burn about 450. The beautiful thing about it is not only you burn calories, you drink a lot of water, so you
Low
sweat,
impact.
you sweat a lot of bad stuff, and your body gets shaped.
Right. Interesting. Now, you've migrated from the European countries over to here. Where are you originally from?
I was born in the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. And then you moved to Tennessee?
As we discussed before, when I was 17, 18, my parents wanted me to expose the world to see what's out there, and therefore they sent me to the U.S. They did not particularly pick any country or any state. They got me involved in a program called International Exchange Student. I ended up in Tennessee on a farm, involved with pigs and cows and chickens and any farm animals you can possibly name. And so I was quite a bit of a celebrity guy coming from Europe. They called me the white trash. I didn't know what that meant. And I always aspired to read a lot. I love reading. And so I picked up some nicknames, Book Smart, He Who Likes to Read. And then over a period of time, I excelled at school. And it was fun, but it got a bit of use. It took a bit of getting used to.
So when you did move to America, did you happen to notice anything different? Were Americans usually larger, if you will, as opposed to a European, which may be trimmer, or is that something to do with our diet, or?
You know, the Czech Republic, we don't have any minorities, so everybody is just like me. And when I came here, I saw a black person for the first time. And I treat everybody the same, and it was just very refreshing to meet different people, different cultures, and I really enjoy that, different foods. People are larger, yes, but I was always told at home, the more you earn, the bigger you are. So in my little world, I thought everybody's quite well off if they've got a lot to carry. I did not stay long. I stayed only a year.
Right. That actually used to be something carried over from years ago, where if you were prominence, you were generally a larger person. And
That's correct.
It was nowadays that doesn't seem to be the truth. It seems to be probably the weller off you are now, the more fit you are, and because you're eating better and you're exercising and you're taking care of yourself. So back to the instructing at the Y. How big are your classes?
It's limited by the amount of bikes. At the moment, we have 10 bikes. I'm pushing for about 20.
Do you ever take it to the road, or is it all in?
No, it's stationary. So the bike does not move. It's stationary. It has a small wheels. You wheel it in. You can do a circle formation or some other formation. And you have anywhere from 10 to 12 people, depending on the amount of bike. My classes are usually full on Mondays and Thursdays. Tuesday and Wednesdays are fairly quiet. Maybe half of the class, because there's a class right before my class.
Right. And did you have to take any formal training to become an instructor?
I did, yes. I had to get certified.
Yeah.
Not everybody can become an instructor. You have to be obviously fit, but there's a thick book, about 300, 400 pages. You have to read, and then you have to take a test, and you also have to go to orientation meeting.
Now, where is that provided at the Y, or is it at a university?
No,
or?
the Y doesn't do it. It's usually at a studio or fitness center. This particular one was at the Executive Club in Manchester, and it's usually done once a year.
Once a year, okay. So a lot of training, and then that's interesting. So have you? You must have regular people coming there on a regular basis. You've had some success stories, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have the regular followers, and then they love it, and then they spread the good news and bring more people.
Right.
The only trouble is I have 10 bikes and I've got 20 people signed up, and so I'm pushing for more bikes.
Right.
Before I joined, there used to be 2-3 people spinning and very few classes, and then it just took off. They added more classes in the morning at 5, 6 in the morning, then another class at 5 in the afternoon, then at 7 and at 8.
Now, do you do any personal weight training at all, or is it all bike?
You know,
Or cross training or something like that?
when I joined the Y, I was going to do spinning instructing only. But people looked at me and said, you know, we would like to look just like you. And I'm thinking, okay.
I never get that.
The spinning won't do it.
Right.
We will have to do some other things. So I run between 5K and 8 miles before the class. Then I do the class for 45 minutes. And then I do sit-ups, push-ups, and other exercises with people who are interested.
Talk about your diet.
That's an important one. I used to eat pretty much anything when I was younger, and when the body was able to process it. Now, when you get older, you have to watch what you eat.
Right.
And so I cut down certain things. The ideal diet is vegan diet, a plant-based diet, just because the body takes so much longer to digest the meat. What do I eat? I think it should start with what do we drink. I think a lot of water, at least 100 to 120 ounces of water per day is a start. That makes you less hungry. Number 2, limit sugars, limit fat, eat at least 4 to 5 pieces of fruit and vegetables a day. No cakes.
No cakes. Oh.
No sweets. As little meat as possible. No milk. No cheese.
Why no milk and no cheese?
The body cannot digest it. The humans are the only mammals that drink milk after being weaned off.
Right. Okay.
And so, you know, I've tried this on myself. I don't drink any tea. I don't drink any coffee. No sugars. And it worked, obviously. And then I've been trying it on other people, and they come to me and they said, we have lost 40 to 50 pounds.
Really?
Where did you learn how to cut down these things and how to eat healthy? It's been trial and error.
Right. All right. Now, obviously you're an instructor, but what do you do out on the side? I mean, do you have a full-time job?
I do, yes. I am an energy consultant.
An energy consultant for any?
For a small consultancy in Manchester called H Solutions.
Now, what is that all about?
It's about helping businesses with their energy costs. Buying energy, selling energy. Our clients range from large corporations, housing units, shipping companies, fuel dealers. So the guy who delivers your fuel, he needs to make sure that when he supplies you in winter and he promises you that you will not pay above a certain limit,
Right.
he will not. And so we take care of that. We watch the market globally. We look at what's going on in China, what's going on in the US, what's going on in Europe, put it all together, the unemployment, the inflation, the housing, the debt, and then look at the charts, look at the technicals, the fundamentals, the weather, and say, you know, it's going downhill. The prices will come down. You can buy certain derivatives, which we also do, and we will consult you when to do it, how to do it, where to pick it up, how to pick it up. So we protect clients from getting burned. You remember in 2008, prices were sky high.
Right.
Gasoline was rushing about $4 per gallon. People were crying, how far?
I'm still not happy with the prices.
They're pretty low compared to Europe. In Europe, you would pay about $8 to $9 per gallon.
That still doesn't comfort me. Especially, you know, when I see that they were just recently down under, you know, $3.50.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
Prices will have to go up. Your government will have to put taxes on your gasoline, and the debt will have to be paid somehow. There's no free lunch.
Yeah, that's another topic as far as the debt having to be paid. I think they need to stop spending so much. Yeah.
We can talk about it another day.
We could talk about that another time, but I would like you to come on the show in the future and talk more about energy consulting, maybe in the near future.
I would love to. You know, my first job, I've been doing it for about 12 years. My first job was with Enron.
Oh.
Enron pulled all the brightest people in the industry, people extremely educated, beautiful experience, and then there was just a bit of mismanagement of funds going on. But excellent company, excellent potential. They went bankrupt, and then I stayed in energy, working as pricing analyst, pricing manager, energy consultant, trader. I used to trade all sorts of commodities from carbon to coal, and so I'll be happy to discuss this on the show.
Well, thank you for coming on today. And if people want to get in touch with you about your classes or get involved with spinning, how do they get in touch with you?
They can either email me or they can call me.
What's your email?
My email is frank.rabusic@yahoo.co.uk.
Frank Rabusic, R-A-B-U-S-I-C.
At yahoo.co.uk, which is the British abbreviation for Yahoo.
Okay. And your phone number?
Your phone number, my phone number, I don't have it memorized, but if they email me,
or they can call the YMCA.
I'll be able to reply, or they can call the local YMCA, and I'll get in touch with them.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show and talking about spinning, and we'd like to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching Gate City Chronicles, and Frank for coming on the show. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and if you want to get fit, try out the spinning class. Until next week, thanks for watching.